Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for a very special night on this Veterans Day. I'm Pat Hoffman.
And I'm Sierra Tufts. Tonight we will share stories about local veterans, organizations making a difference in veterans' lives, and how the Fort Wayne area honors its veterans. WANE 15 is proud to share these stories for the next hour. We start tonight with a look back at a major anniversary this year. June 6th marked the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
160,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy on that historic day. The D-Day invasion was a turning point in the war as Allied troops eventually liberated Nazi-occupied France. It is still to this day the largest naval, air, and land assault in military history. The 122nd Fighter Wing in Fort Wayne used to be called the 358 Wing. The wing helped escort aircraft across the channel on D-Day.
The heritage is alive today in the 122nd. A lot of pride in where we've been and what we've done, and we draw upon the successes 80 years ago to follow through today.
And we are told the wing still uses tactics that were developed by the 358 Wing.
World War II veteran Al Koontz might not have been storming the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, but he was over in the South Pacific when the Japanese surrendered.
Let's start by talking about your service. When did you get into the military?
I got in the late fall of 1943, 18 years old. I turned 18 August the 24th, 1943.
What made you want to join?
Everybody was doing it in World War II. In fact, I had friends in high school that dropped out of school and joined, which was, they could do that back then. I was in communications. In '44, I picked up an LST 595 and went to South Pacific. And I was in the South Pacific till after the war, after the Japanese surrendered.
When you were serving in the Navy as in the communications department, what were your specialties?
I was very good at copying code. As a matter of fact, probably about 10 days after we were out, we were going to New Guinea. It was going to be the first place we stopped. And I was told to go see an officer in an office. And I went in and they said, the communications people have told me to tell you that you are the best copier we have on board.
And when you talk about code, is that Morse code?
Morse code.
Okay, so how did you learn Morse code?
Well, I went to Auburn, Alabama. I was in Auburn, what's now Auburn University. And oddly enough, I did not take typing in high school. I went for a lot of math and science, and so that was a little bit of a handicap, but you do have to be able to copy, I think it was 10 words a minute by hand before you could they'd even let you get on a typewriter. But it's pretty easy in the Navy because they're all capital letters. So.
Do you still know Morse code?
A few letters I can pick up real quick, but that was 81 years ago.
Do you have any fond memories of being in the Navy?
I loved the water. I've talked a lot of times to my friends and I, we used to sit, you had flags, and we sat on that box if it was night and there was moonlight, and you had the wake back there. It was really a beautiful sight.
What was the hardest part about being in World War II?
Well, we were probably out no more than a week, and we had a young man pass away, and I was buried out at sea right away. And there's a lot of devastation in Manila, and I was able to go in and see that right after they surrendered. So war is not good.
There aren't a lot of wars like a world war happening anymore. What do you think is something that you would want young people to take away from what you experienced?
Boy, that's a very difficult question. I think that whatever branch you're in and whatever your particular job is, to do it the best you can. It's today maybe I question a little bit because the war is totally different today. There's mostly all electronic compared to what we had.
You were doing most of the electronics that you had.
Right, absolutely.
So when did you discharge from the Navy?
Well, it was 1945. It was late spring. It might have been April, May.
So you served just a little over 2 years.
Well, at 43, 44, 45, 46.
Okay. So
Sections of 4 years.
okay. I'm very bad at math, so my apologies.
Math was my subject.
There you go. We got something for you. When you reflect back on your military service, would you do it again?
If we had the same war situation we had back there, there's not a question I would do it. As far as what branch would I be in, definitely Navy.
You're a Navy man all the way.
Well, there's kind of a little bit of a joke there. A lot of people said, well, why didn't you want in the Navy or the Army? And I said, sounds like a foxhole to me. I like the white sheets that I had in the Navy.
Yes. And when you were, when you went on honor flight based on the shirt that you wore, it was honor flight in 2013. Tell me about that experience.
That was probably the most thing that probably brought me more to almost to tears. Everything that was built is beautiful, but probably the most heart thing that crushed me was we went back to get on the plane, and everyone was dressed in the 40s, big band with 40s music, and it was just amazing. I don't know if you want this in it, but there was a young lady kept wanting to dance with me. And I said, ma'am, I just got new D's. I said, I don't think that you want me to do that. She said, oh, you can do it. I said, no, but I will tell you. I said, if you had been at the dock in Seattle when I got off, I would be dancing with you for a long time.
Well, it was a nice, polite decline of her offer. And Al, when we talk about Veterans Day, what does it mean to you?
Probably at my age now, I'm probably more proud of what I did. You know, for all these years, nobody, I don't think, thought too much about it. We were glad that we did it, and we were glad it's over.
Well, Al, I thank you so much for your time, and I thank you for your service all of these years later.
It's a pleasure for me. I thank you.
Well, we certainly echo those sentiments. Al, thank you for your service. Still to come, this year marks the 10th year the city of Fort Wayne has recognized deployed veterans with its Blue Star Banner program.
But first, the story of a woman who received one of those banners while juggling more than just deployment.
We've flown countless women on our past trips and have had the privilege to have them honored at the Military Women's Memorial. It's a special recognition for their service and also being added to the National Registry of Women Veterans. Here is where we need your help. Women veterans many times are not acknowledged for their service. You see, more often than not, it's incorrectly assumed a woman wearing a veteran hat or shirt are just supporting their husband, father, or family member, when in fact they themselves are the veteran. This is just one reason women veterans hesitate to sign up, because they don't feel recognized or don't feel their service warrants consideration. But ladies, don't take my word for it. Here are a few of my friends who have some thoughts on this just for you.
As a woman veteran, I would like to speak to my fellow women veterans and encourage you to sign up for the honor flight. It was such a privilege and the experience was beyond words. So if your mother, sister, or you have any other female veteran friends or family members, please encourage them to apply. We are such a small part of those who served, but we did serve.
Millions of women have volunteered to serve in the military, some a very long time ago. Even if you served during the Korea or Vietnam era, or in the years since, and are concerned about your health or stamina and are afraid you cannot do the honor flight, be assured that there is a doctor, nurses, and medical capabilities to make your day safe and enjoyable. Having your service recognized during this special day is so worth it.
We women are not a rare breed, we are a special breed. We joined the service to serve alongside the comrades. We did not ask for any special recognition, but the honor flight has given us that. It has allowed us to have that day of special recognition, and it has allowed us to receive a day that we will remember for the rest of our lives. Please sign up and join us and go on your honor flight that you have earned.
Women veterans, you took the same oath as every other service member. You raised your hand and vowed to defend your country like any man. No matter what you did or where you served, whether it was behind a typewriter or with a weapon in your hand, you were willing to do what you were asked. And that's why you deserve to go on an honor flight. So sign up today.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
By day, she's a captain with the fire department, also an active duty combat medic, plus a mom. And it's safe to say Amber Stein juggles a lot.
I like to think as a modern day Wonder Woman, if I'm to be frank. I like showing the younger generation of women and other women that are my peers that anything is possible if you put your mind to it and you work hard.
It's doubtful anyone would argue Captain Amber Stein is anything less than a modern-day Wonder Woman. Her own ambition is what brought her to join the military.
I wanted to join because I was in college and kind of felt a higher calling, wasn't feeling like I was doing enough, and they offer school benefits. So I was like, that's a great way to help fund my education and to continue on as I was in the paramedic program at Ivy Tech at the time.
The Garrett native joined the Indiana National Guard with the 638th Aviation Support Battalion. After 14 years of service, Stein is now a platoon sergeant and deployed in Kosovo from 2022 until 2023. But don't forget, she also has a full-time job.
So I worked as a paramedic here in town beginning in, I believe it was March of 2014. I worked for Three Rivers Ambulance Authority first and got to meet a lot of firefighters through working at Three Rivers Ambulance Authority. And one of the firefighters came to me and said, Amber, I think you'd really be great at this. You should consider applying. And I took his recommendation, and here I am.
Here is the Safety Village. Stein oversees the Survive Alive program.
Getting to work with the third graders day in and day out and proving to them that they can do hard things, that they can put their fears aside and safely escape a home fire situation if, heaven forbid, that were to ever happen to them. And it's just a blessing to see all the lives that we've touched.
While Stein considers herself Wonder Woman, you probably could add a couple more adjectives to describe her.
I want to care for others. I am a medic in the military, which is what drove me to become a paramedic 10 years ago. And I just want to take care of those that need it. And I love serving the community and making sure that the community is taken care of.
Stein is also making sure her family is taken care of, including her husband Nathan and daughters Caitlin, Taryn, Stevie, and Gabriella. She makes it look easy, but Stein fully understands others made it possible to do what she does.
Veterans Day to me means so much, not only as a veteran that is still serving, but all the members of the military who served before us, and especially those who were unfortunately not able to make it home. I know we have Memorial Day, and that day is set aside specifically for them, but it's still an honor to honor them on Veterans Day and realize that they laid the path for veterans like me and those who are going to grow up and continue to join the military and make that a part of their lives.
And Amber, we certainly appreciate your service. Thank you for that. Still to come, it's been 10 years since Fort Wayne put up its first blue banner. We'll take a look at the program's history.
Plus, Fort Wayne lost the man who started the program. Mayor Tom Henry will have the legacy he leaves behind as mayor and a veteran.
I'm Max with Honor Flight, Northeast Indiana. With me today is Dr. William Pond, a practicing anesthesiologist in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's also a retired colonel from the Air National Guard. And we're here to discuss what questions a veteran might have about applying for an honor flight. Some of them have many questions about whether they should go or not, depending on their health. The first thing they should do is discuss this with their physician and then proceed to apply and be assured that we have a physician on board to fulfill their health needs if necessary. Dr. Pond, what's your response to something like that?
Well, Max, you got to admit these folks are by nature older and have health concerns. And we can't guarantee they won't have health problems, but we will manage them better on the honor flight than they would any other time. So Max, why am I the only doc on the flight?
Well, we're only here to take care of minor bumps and bruises and dehydration and minor issues that might come up during the day. If we have any major issues, people in DC, EMS and that kind of thing will take care of the major things, and we'll send the patient to the hospital.
So Max, at the beginning of the day, about 50 years come off each veteran, they've got all sorts of energy. But if they get a little bit tired later in the day, what can we do for them?
Later in the day, if they're tired, we take enough wheelchairs to accommodate every veteran that might need one. And also that's why the guardian is there that's younger than they are, usually a generation younger, and that person can push that veteran in the wheelchair the rest of the day. So he's in good hands from morning to night.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
10 years ago, the city of Fort Wayne announced an initiative to honor residents who are actively deployed.
Mayor Tom Henry announced the Blue Star Banner program. During the announcement, Mayor Henry confessed he stole the idea from another Indiana city, but knew it was perfect for Fort Wayne. 10 years later, and after his passing, Mayor Sharon Tucker is more than happy to continue honoring residents with Blue Star banners.
You know, having one-on-one experience, I could say that I'm sure Mayor Henry is smiling knowing that the program is continuing. It is undescribable what people go through when they are considering sacrificing everything for our country, and I'm very proud and happy to know that we had a leader who had done both sacrifice for our country and then turned around and recognized the sacrifices.
While it may seem like just a banner for the family members of those deployed, the banners mean more.
When they drive by every day and they see their son or daughter's name up there, it just gives them a warm feeling, and to recognize that we as a city recognize them.
Recently, the banners have been moved to Lafayette Street for easier viewing and to bring them closer to the Veterans Memorial Bridge.
And this past spring, when Fort Wayne lost its longest-serving mayor, Tom Henry, as a veteran himself, it was evident that he had continued to honor those who served whenever possible. Before serving as mayor and a city councilman, Mayor Henry served in the U.S. Army. At one point, he was stationed in Africa. After being honorably discharged in 1973, he continued his service in the reserves for another 4 years. During his time as mayor, in addition to starting the Blue Banner program, he was also vital in the development of the Veterans Bridge. His procession drove over the bridge on his way to his final resting place.
Great friend of the veteran community for sure. He was an awesome friend of the Warrior Breed Motorcycle Club, supported us in many efforts that we have had over the years, and we just felt it necessary that we be out here to honor him today. He was just a honorable guy that loved the city of Fort Wayne and served it for many years in a way that we should all be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like yesterday that we were here with the mayor dedicating this bridge, and it was a great collaborative effort with the state and with the city. So I'm glad he's passing over it.
And Mayor Henry was 72 years old.
This past year, Fort Wayne also lost Jerry Vandeveer, a philanthropist and veteran. Vandeveer was an Army veteran, and he received full military honors. He and his late wife, Linda, are best known for building the Law Enforcement and Firefighter Memorial on Wells Street. Leaders from the Fort Wayne Police Department, including the chief, as well as the Allen County Sheriff's Office, the Indiana State Police, and the Fort Wayne Fire Department all attended his funeral. Vandeveer's procession also stopped at the memorial so loved ones could salute in his honor.
He never shied away from pulling out a handful of cash to drop in a bucket or to order an entire whip and chill apparatus for all to enjoy a treat. And he never ran out of his very special hugs, a hug that many of us were blessed to share with him on the day of his passing. Jerry and Linda are a constant reminder to us, all that kindness cost us is nothing, but the return on investment, priceless.
Vandeveer was 75.
Still to come, a local organization started by veterans helping veterans.
Plus, state officials in the organization recently recognized Fort Wayne for welcoming veterans.
Thank you for joining tonight for Veterans Voices. I'm here at the Vietnam Wall with my friend Emery McClendon. Emery, you don't look old enough to be wearing that World War II veteran hat, but I know it's got a really special story for you.
This hat means a lot to me. My father served in World War II. He was a POW. He got captured, and him and his regiment, or his group, escaped. And they wandered around in the wilderness, according to my brother and the story that my dad told me, for 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 months before they found their way back to friendly lines. So my father died, and I kept asking him, could I take you to Washington, D.C.? This was years ago before he died. Never got a chance to take him. So I told my brother, after he told me the story of my dad, that I'm going to buy a hat, and if I ever go back to the monuments in Washington, D.C., I'm going to take my dad with me. And that is what this hat is for.
Thank you so much, Emery, for being here. You know, and a lot of the questions that we get is, do I apply? Am I worthy to come on a trip like this? And some of the questions that we get from the Black community even are, am I welcome here? You know, because we want to be welcoming of all veterans here. Tell me a little bit of your experience so far and what that has meant to you.
Yes, you are welcome here, and I was surprised by not seeing a lot of Black faces, or even talking to some of the veterans like around Fort Wayne. Have you been to Honor Flight? Have you signed up for Honor Flight? And a lot of them tell me no. Well, my question is, why not? You know, why don't you feel comfortable? Why don't you feel like you need to sign up for an event like this? This event, as we know, honors, especially in this phase of it now, you're moving into the Vietnam era. You're moving into an era of a lot of Black guys that went into Vietnam and they supported the war in Vietnam. You hear a lot of stories about what these Black guys did over in Vietnam, more so than you do in World War I, World War II, or even in the Korean conflict.
Right.
My message to them is, you need to look into this, because this is an organization that has no color bearers. It wants you to come and see these monuments. It wants you to come and be with your fellow veterans, to let them know that you're still their comrades in arms, and that you're here to support them, and they're here to support you.
And I think, as you can attest, when we look at our application process, we ask your name and your phone number because we need to know how to contact you. We ask, when did you serve? And outside of that, we want to thank anybody that wore the uniform, man, woman, regardless of when or where they served. And we're just thankful to be able to honor each and every single one of you. So thank you for being here with us today. And thank you for spreading that message to everybody in the communities that you reach.
And thank you for having me on. And I want to say again, you brothers out there in the community, especially in Allen County and some of the surrounding counties, get signed up. Go on an honor flight. You'll never regret it. I'm sure I'm going to remember this the rest of my life.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
Transitioning from military to civilian life can be a culture shock.
InVets is an organization that helps ease that transition. During a recent stop in Fort Wayne, Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch highlighted Allen County as one of the top destinations for veterans and their families to settle down. A big reason why is the partnerships InVets has established in the community. They offer crucial guidance and support to help veterans find the right fit.
When you leave the military, you're establishing a new career. You're establishing a new medical system. You're establishing new insurance systems, new schools, a new identity, a new culture for the family. And InVets bridges all of that and integrates you into the community.
When I needed help with the interview process or needed to bounce some ideas off or just talk about the transition process, looking for that long-term success, that peace, contentment, and balance in the move.
And InVets is an organization founded by veterans for veterans. You can learn much more about its mission and opportunities available for veterans by going to their website, invets.org.
There was hardly a dry eye at the Shepherd's House when a local couple received a very prestigious award to honor their commitment to veterans. Kenny and Tracy Barr received the Sagamore of the Wabash last month. The award is the highest honor given by the governor of Indiana. The Barrs have dedicated their lives to help homeless veterans rebuild their lives at the Shepherd's House.
It's pretty amazing. It's incredibly humbling. We love these veterans, we love these men, and we love the work we can do for them.
The main thing is Trace and I, we get the guys in the house, make sure they're loved, we get them brand new clothing, get them a shower, get them fresh bedding, get them everything ready to go on a brand new start, hit the reset button.
Generosity beyond comprehension. Kenny and Tracy Barr have been helping veterans hit the reset button for over 12 years. The Shepherd's House helps homeless veterans rebuild their lives into sober and productive members of the community. Still to come, no judgment, no questions asked.
A Fort Wayne nonprofit helping veterans in need. The impact Clothes for Joe's has on the Fort Wayne area when we return.
Good afternoon. My name is Chuck Sands. I'm the 19th Director of the National Park Service, and I'm so very pleased today to be here with the 13th Director of the National Park Service, Director Ridenauer.
Hey. Yes, and it's been a long time since I was Director. This young guy is taking charge and making everything work that I couldn't get going.
Yes, I'm James M. Ridenauer, and I served in the Army Medical Service Corps, was in Vietnam in 67 and 68. I was the 13th National Park Service Director in Washington, D.C. Believe it or not, I sent in a resume. I thought I might end up being a ranger in Yellowstone or something like that. Oh, first I have to tell you the opening story, and that is when I came to the White House, the president introduced me to Mrs. Bush and said, "This is the young man that's going to run our national park system." And she said, "Oh, you're the guy that mows the lawn." And at that moment, I didn't know that the Park Service took care of the White House. She was exactly right. We did all the flowers and the maintenance and everything, but that was how I got introduced to Barbara Bush.
What was it like for you when you got your call for your honor flight?
I was surprised when I got the call because I'd kind of forgotten about it.
Summarize what your day was like.
Well, I'll tell you, the funny thing was I showed up, went up to the gate where the military people were, and I said, I didn't see any lights or anything. And I said, I'm here for the honor flight. And they said, honor flight? Honor flight? You're a month too early. I was a month too early, having gotten up at 4 o'clock down here. So I drove home and then came back, of course, a month later. But everything went slick as can be, you know, once things got rolling.
What are some of the things you remember from your trip that day?
The camaraderie of having breakfast, talking to guys. Hey, I see you did this. I hear you did this. That was memorable. The trip to the monuments in Washington was memorable, but on the other hand, I had run most of those. New ones had come online though, Franklin Roosevelt. I hadn't seen Franklin Roosevelt or the World War II memorials. Well, if you haven't signed up, you know, the chances of being picked are pretty slim. So you need to get in touch with the Honor Flight people and make sure that everything is on the go. If you've signed up and you don't have a guardian, don't worry about it. They've got a group of volunteers who volunteer for these kinds of activities, and they do a great job.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
Clothes for Joe's is an organization run completely by volunteers. Since 2015, their mission to serve those who served our country has been providing clothing, hygiene products, and accessories to veterans in need. This local nonprofit is small in numbers, but huge in heart.
The pride of having served in the military and then needing to go ask someone for help is a huge challenge.
Andrew Messmer is no stranger when it comes to facing challenges.
So personally, I'm a veteran myself. I was in the Army for 15 years, medically retired. Having gone through my own struggles in life, my own personal experiences, as well as my successes, I'm at a point where I can help make a difference for other veterans, other folks just like myself.
Which is what Clothes for Joe's is all about.
They are an amazing, small group of people. They don't talk the talk, they walk the walk.
It's not just a transactional relationship. It's not like, here's a pair of pants, have a nice day. We want to really try to make a difference for people's lives.
And we don't care how long you were in the military. If you're a veteran, you're going to come in here and we're going to help you somehow. And if we can't, we're going to find a way to help you. Yeah, look at these.
Our niche is in clothing.
Yes.
So essential things, hats, boots, gloves, jeans, socks, underwear is a huge one.
Thank you.
And then those personal hygiene items like body wash, shampoo, razors, shaving cream, foot powder, those things.
I do this to honor not just the veterans, but also my brother. He was Marine through and through. So when he passed, I was kind of lost, and I wanted to do something that I knew he would have done. And this is it. He would have given everything to this place if he was still here. So I do that for him.
And we all go to our closets and you look at the $40 hoodies, the $20 this, that you haven't even wore yet. I guarantee you, look yourself in the eyes and tell me you don't have a piece of clothing in your closet you bought that you didn't even wear. If you're donating to these guys, it's here, it's in our town. As a business owner, I'm begging business owners to step up, help these guys.
We need lots of help. We need volunteers. Oh, please, volunteer. Think about it.
You know, seeing people that come in that some have nothing, you know, to be able to put on clean clothes, just clean socks or clean underwear. I try to keep my composure while I'm here working with them, but there's days where I gotta walk away, get a little weepy eye, so to speak. You know, we care about those people. They're veterans and quality members of our community, just need a little bit of help, so really try to make that difference.
And Andrew and his dedicated group of volunteers make a difference every day, but they could always use the help, both financially and with volunteers. If you would like to donate or learn more about ways to support Clothes for Joe's, you can call the number on your screen right now, 260-442-8600. You can also go to the website, clothesforjoes.org.
Still to come, decades after his service, a Vietnam veteran is receiving a special honor.
But first, a local Purple Heart veteran shares his story of loss and gratitude.
For many veterans, their service is literally a family affair. we were able to talk to a veteran that traveled with us this past spring who is going to share with us a little bit about his family's military service. Have a listen.
Our uncle was the first Steuben County native killed in World War II. So the VFW post is named after him.
Named after him. And then we have here, this is my dad. This is my Uncle Clyde, who drove a bulldozer ashore at Normandy Beach. My name is Eric Anspaugh. I went on Honor Flight 46. Besides myself, my dad was at Pearl Harbor when they bombed it. I had two more uncles that were in the military, Navy also. My Uncle George was lost at sea. His ship was sunk. He was on a cruiser and they were sunk, and he was seen going in the water but never found. When I got my call for the honor flight, I knew it was coming, and when it did get there, then I was very excited about it. When I visited the Vietnam Wall, I had one name on the wall that was a hometown person from right here in Pleasant Lake. So I thought about him, and he gave his life. He went back 3 times. He did 3 tours of Vietnam. He doubled what I did. I did 1.5 years. He did 3. So very sobering. That too is probably one of the greatest parts of that trip too. Well, if you're still on the waiting list, keep the faith. They are going to get to you. Honor Flight will take every individual that has signed up for this. Nobody is left behind. You have earned it. You served your time. You earned your recognition. You were available to go. So please just keep waiting. It took me about 5 years to get my go around at it. I would tell any veteran that has not signed up yet, you've earned this recognition. You have served your country, and it doesn't matter what your capacity is. It is something you deserve to be recognized for. Your friends and family are proud of you. So is a lot of the rest of the country.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
Bravery and courage, it's what's represented with the Purple Heart Honor, an honor most veterans aren't fond of receiving, but one they carry for the rest of their lives.
Taylor King brings us a story of one Northeast Indiana veteran that lives his life for his brothers that never made it home.
I live every day for those guys. I say, I owe you, you know. I'm living my life and I want my share of my life with you.
James Mitch, a Vietnam War veteran, served 3 years in the Marine Corps. He, like many others, felt it was his duty to serve our country. Mitch left school at Indiana University and went to California for basic training. Once it was time for him to go to war, instantly a brotherhood formed.
We learned to be brothers. You protect me, I protect you.
One day, Mitch and his squad were caught in a hidden trap where everyone in his squad was ambushed.
They had the enemy on inside the trees on either side of this ravine. Everything just started going boom, boom, boom. I was blown up into the air and blown backwards. And as I was going backwards, I was going this way. The guys in the front of the patrol were going forward. My life passed before my eyes as I was floating. I saw the sky, you know, and then I saw the bamboo trees, and I saw myself as a kid. The shrapnel from these bombs that went off went right through my leg. I mean, they took my thigh out, they took my calf out.
Mitch was one of the few in his squad to make it back home. He says he will never forget the ones who died in the line of duty. Mitch was later given the Purple Heart honor.
And to believe that I got to come home, I got to get married.
Mitch and his wife Cindy have a big family filled with children and 13 grandchildren. In October, Mitch and his daughter went on the 49th Northeast Indiana Honor Flight, where he paid his respects to his brothers in arms.
And put that, bouquet. I said, look, all my fellas, up in heaven, we did it. We're here. We're in the big time. Somebody cares. And I shared that with them, and made me feel good.
For Veterans Voices, Taylor King, WANE 15 News.
Incredible story, symbolic of so many others. Taylor, thank you for sharing that. James, thank you for your service. Still to come, an Ohio congressman made it his mission to make sure Vietnam veterans receive special recognition for their service.
Plus, Fort Wayne skies have been a little louder. Why the return of the F-16s is beneficial to the 122nd.
Thank you for watching tonight's Veterans Voices. I'm Adam Brower. We're live here in Washington, D.C. We're at the Pentagon Memorial. I'm with my new friend Jim here. We didn't know we were neighbors and we had to come all the way out to Washington, D.C. to meet each other. But, Jim, as somebody who's been on the waiting list for quite a while now to be able to come on your trip, I know that you've had some people in front of you. I know you've wanted them to go, but your day's finally here. Tell us a little bit about when you got the phone call that it was time for your trip, and now that you're here, maybe some of the emotions and new things you got to experience.
Well, I tell you, when we first got the call, I have a friend that's here with me. We served in the Army Reserve together. Our unit was activated. We ended up going to Vietnam together. We came home from Vietnam together. We go to the same church now. And so we signed up on the same day 6 years ago. Wow. And fortunately, we've been on the earth long enough to remember way back that far. Yeah. When we finally got the word that it was going to be, we had two choices. And this is my wife's birthday. To tell you how much she cares, she let us go. And honestly and truthfully, at first I was a little apprehensive. I thought, well, gosh, I don't want to take it away from somebody that really deserves it. And since I found out, I've heard a lot of people make that statement. I'm just saying, it's worth it. It definitely is worth it. Unlike 50 plus years ago when it wasn't quite that way. It is truly exhilarating, and it's such a great feeling to have these folks support us the way they are.
They are, right. What would you say to them, those that are on the fence that say, I don't deserve this trip, I don't want to go on that?
Yeah. Yes, you do. Yeah. Yes, you do. You very definitely do. Number one, and since going back to the fact that it's my wife's birthday, she made sacrifices like wives should never have to make, not knowing day after day. There ought to be some trip for her, maybe, I don't know, go shopping, whatever. Yeah. But the folks that serve need to see this. I don't care if you delivered beer to the guys in Vietnam, whether you were in a foxhole or in a tunnel. You deserve this. You need to see that your time was appreciated, and Americans love Americans, and I love that.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
A local veteran received a prestigious honor decades after his service.
William Young is a Vietnam veteran who finally received recognition for that service.
What I'd like to be able to do is to present you with the Bronze Star.
The Bronze Star is regarded as the fourth highest military decoration for valor. 50 years after serving in the Vietnam War, Payne, Ohio resident and Army veteran William Young is finally being recognized.
Well, it's a great honor. I never expected it.
Ohio Congressman Bob Latta presented the honor to Young.
And I remember sitting in my office with the Army, and I said, look, we have got to recognize these individuals. And there were 600 members in the units. And so the Army came back and they said, we believe that they were eligible for the Bronze Star.
Young was a member of the Bushwhackers of the Bravo Company. He is the 74th out of those 600 members to be recognized so far for his service in a controversial war.
A lot of us that came back from Vietnam were not welcome back, and kind of got pushed to the side, I think, with not even being recognized for what we did, which was a very unpopular war at that time. And this final recognition, I'm 75, so it's finally being recognized after 50 some years. I feel very proud about what we did, and very grateful that our country does recognize people that do serve, have served in the military.
A ceremony for other members was held in Washington, D.C., but Young didn't know about it. So Latta made the trip to his home in Payne to present the honor.
It's very important that everyone always remembers this. We always have to remember to thank our veterans. We wouldn't be here today as a nation if it wasn't for our veterans.
And Young graduated high school in 1967. A year later, he was drafted into the Army. He deployed to Vietnam in '69. Once returning from the war, he used his GI Bill to go to college.
Well, we certainly appreciate him. Long overdue, but a huge thank you for your service. And still to come, the 122nd is a fixture in the community, but its recent addition will help solidify that for years to come.
Plus, why a new memorial doesn't honor veterans at the National Veterans Memorial and Shrine.
We are at the airport today speaking with Scott, the Executive Director of the Fort Wayne International Airport. Wanted to start off by asking about the welcome home. How does that work with you guys? What is the excitement level? How do you...
It's extremely emotional. These guys and gals serve their country very well, and when they come home, they are truly getting a great welcome home in Fort Wayne. The airport's, it's a pleasure to participate in it and use our facility. Our staff works really hard. A lot of our staff are actually on the air side of the terminal, so they don't see them come through the terminal. But those that do, it's very heartfelt, warming, motivational to see the welcome home that these people get as they come home from a tour of the memorials in DC.
Yeah, Scott, how has all the construction at the airport here impacted our return flight?
The staff is working really hard to make sure that you guys aren't having to go someplace else to enjoy and welcome the soldiers home. We have done a significant effort in trying to make sure that the sequencing of the construction through the years, whether it's temporary walls here, and the elevators aren't working there, the escalators, we've worked pretty hard making sure that we had gates available to where we could get the aircraft in. We have a lot of construction going on. It's kind of like when you remodel your house and you have to live in it while you do the work. We have been doing a lot of that where we are trying to do the different sequencing. We wanted to make sure that we can give everybody a good welcome home right when they get off the aircraft.
You know, we are one of the very unique honor flight hubs in the nation. We fly out of an active working military base, and then we fly back into the public Fort Wayne International Airport. How is that relationship unique for you working with the Air National Guard base to make these honor flights happen?
I think you're right. That is unique. Fort Wayne is they call it a joint use airfield. So the community owns the airport, and we have a joint use because we share the runways with the Air Force or the Air National Guard. But what a great gig. I mean, we're sending these veterans and soldiers to the memorial, and they get to actually go on a military base to board, to have some kind of a ceremony before they go on their trip, very familiar to them. They go do their trip and they come back. Possibly a little bit difficult to get all the civilians on the military base, so we are welcoming them in our public use terminal building. It works great. And as far as the Air National Guard and the Airport Authority, we have a great relationship. Again, we shared a lot of the same pavement. We work well daily with each other. The fact that we can take and give the experience of a soldier to go through the military base, get that kickoff from that side, and when they come home to more of a public opening, I think is unique and attractive. Probably adds to the overall experience for Fort Wayne soldiers.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation, Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. And now your hosts, Sierra Tufts and Pat Hoffman.
Fort Wayne's 122nd Fighter Wing showcased its new F-16s throughout the year. The base received the first batch of aircrafts this year.
Back in June, the F-16s took to the sky at the 122nd. Friends and family were invited to see the base to see them in action. You may have seen the F-16s throughout the year as well. Not only are they incredible to see, but it also helps the 122nd in the long term by having the F-16s.
The investment that this base brings to our community, a lot of people forget. It's millions of dollars that we see because this base is here with us. And then we also have to think about all the men and the women that are serving from this location and the work that they're contributing to not only help keep the U.S. safe, but to help keep the city of Fort Wayne safe as well.
There are currently 14 F-16s in Fort Wayne, with more arriving all the time.
A new memorial at the Veterans National Memorial and Shrine honors the families of veterans. The Shrine held a ceremony for the Woody Williams Foundation Gold Star Family Memorial Monument. The monument honors the families who have lost loved ones in the armed forces. The monument took 12 hours to install and has been in the works for 2 years. Families honored their fallen heroes by placing gold roses on the monument. One Gold Star family who was honored lost their son, Marine Corporal David Grames Sanchez, in 2006.
And coming up finally tonight, a hero's welcome home when we return.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices. We got 84 veterans with us in Washington, D.C., and it's taken hundreds of volunteers and thousands of hours just to put this one trip together. Now, whether you're on the board of director or volunteer corps, or even the people that are out there fundraising in our community, a lot of people have asked, how can we put this whole wonderful day together? I'm going to pass it over to Kathy and Max, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about those volunteers. Kathy?
You know what, Max? Adam's right. We couldn't do what we do without our precious volunteers that spend so many hours helping put these flights together.
Absolutely, Kathy, and I couldn't agree more, because especially with the calling they do, they do a lot of calls for us, lining up the Guardians and the veterans. And then on flight day, they're invaluable to us because they work as bus leaders, and they help us a lot during the day to load and unload the veterans and the Guardians. And then at the World War II Memorial, where we have the picture taken, they help lining up the veterans for the picture.
Absolutely. I can't imagine an honor flight without our volunteers. Boy, our volunteers, they are the meat and potatoes.
And the other nice thing is that all of them are very gracious about. They can't all go on every flight. We understand that. And they go on a flight or two a year, and but they are very invaluable to us.
Very much so, Max. I agree.
You know, Kathy, the biggest thing that's very important to our veterans and our Guardians is the people that show up at the airport in the evening to welcome our veterans home. And every flight, it seems like there's more people there, and we just could not be pleased enough to see all the people that show up to pay homage to those veterans.
You know, Max, I couldn't agree with you more. Those veterans, they never got a welcome home. You know, no matter when they served, they never got a welcome home. And some of them were treated atrociously horrible. And I think the welcome home, their honor flight and their welcome home helps to heal that. And it helps for them to see that we really do have good people that we really do appreciate and honor them for their service.
And it's always gratifying to me to see a note that we get. We just got one the last flight from a veteran who said 50 years ago he didn't get this welcome home, and he did this time.
Yes.
And it meant a lot to it.
That means the world to our veterans, for people to come out to the airport and welcome them home.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Honor Flight would like to thank the James Foundation, Fire and Ice Heating and Cooling, Custom Engineering and Fabrication, and all of our great sponsors for making tonight's show possible.
And back in October, a Decatur woman contacted her neighbor to organize a welcome home celebration for her deployed husband.
Her husband also happens to be a local and viral celebrity.
You may have seen him lurking on the streets or in a social media video.
Get in the car! You're supposed to be at work, Evan.
You may know him as Michael Myers of Decatur. Others know him as dad, husband, and Airman Zimmerman.
You know, I've been in the military for over 17 years now, and the fact that she was able to pull this off and keep it a secret, I'm completely mind blown and speechless. I don't even know what to say.
The secret? A hero's welcome home after Zimmerman's latest deployment.
We have such a good community, and you know, his family, his brothers and mom, and just the support that we've gotten since he's been gone has been so amazing.
Zimmerman's deployment bled into the start of spooky season, so the streets stayed safe from Michael Myers.
I did take the mask with me, but you know, I didn't get the ability to do what I wanted to do with it because I was restricted on what I could do. But now that I'm home, I already told her I don't care that we're halfway through October. As soon as I get settled in, the decorations are coming up and Michael Myers will be back in action.
Zimmerman's welcome home showed the support for this airman and horror villain, but it's really him who is thankful.
Honestly, the biggest thing I want to say is just how much I appreciate this woman. I mean, she has gone above and beyond every deployment I've been on, and she's been there for me and my kids. And I just love her. She's everything to me.
I love you.
And Zimmerman says he started his Michael Myers persona after one of his first deployments in 2012. He tells us this past one will likely be his last long one. The dedication there and support for him and himself as Michael Myers is unmatched.
Yeah, well known to the community. Great to see the community come out and say thank you. And thank you will never be enough to all of the veterans in Northeast Indiana, Northwest Ohio, and around the country. Their sacrifice made for our country will never be forgotten.
And today on Veterans Day and every day in the future, we have the deepest gratitude. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.